shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So this topic that we're talking about today is one that I've covered on this channel many times before. And it is about probably the most infamous film ever made. Certainly the most infamous film ever made by a comedian. And that would be Jerry Lewis's The Day the Clown Cried. Jerry Lewis's comments on this movie have been made abundantly clear many times in many Q&As that he has given over the years. He not only is embarrassed by this film, he said he would never, ever show this film to the public, ever, under any circumstances. So back in 2014, he donated what was available of this film, because it's never been completed, to the Library of Congress. And the stipulation being that nobody would see it for about 10 years. And then this is the year, 2024, when the Library of Congress would perhaps release the film to the public. At least that was the understanding. And, well, it turns out that the Library of Congress, a representative from the Library of Congress, confirmed to IndieWire that no public screenings are planned for this movie. And the archive, by the way, also does not possess a complete cut of the film. Once again, it was never actually fully completed. For years, he sought financing to finish the film all through the 80s and never did. So at least that's the story anyway. So Jerry Lewis's The Day the Clown Cried, all that really is out there thus far on YouTube are some scenes that were cobbled together. And I think it's about 20-25 minutes. And it's about as dry as paint wall can get. I mean, it is just there's no energy. It's completely listless. Completely listless. And enervated. It's a state of enervation watching those scenes. I mean, there's just no energy to those scenes at all. Saying goes, it's like watching paint dry. It goes a little further than even that. It's sort of like looking really just at a blank wall. Of course, that's just my opinion. Now, the footage that was donated by Jerry Lewis contains several unedited scenes from the film. Once again, this was never really completed. And several sound reels, which may or may not align with the film footage. Those portions will be made available to scholars for research later this year. What research could you, I mean, for in what context do we place this film that's never been fully completed? The first time I, heard about this film was through the Golden Turkey Awards book. This was back in the 80s. And this was a book written by Michael Medved and his brother. And it turned out that there was actually one film in that book that was false. It was just made up. And then there were these other ones, including Jesus Christ Superstar, which I think is a great film. But nonetheless, these were turkeys. They considered turkeys. So The Day the Clown Cried was the one I think some of us thought, at least at the time, that was a made-up film. That couldn't possibly be a real film that Jerry Lewis made. But sure enough, that was, I forget which one was the fake one. This film is just, it sounds awful anyway. It's Jerry Lewis as a German clown, and you may know the story already. I'll just leave it at that. But depicts the Holocaust, and really, my feeling is this: if you want to see, there are two different films about the Holocaust that paint, three actually, that paint it in a very ironic way, and still find some balance between humor, pathos, and the tragedy of the Holocaust. That would be Seven Beauties, I believe it's called, by Lena Wertmuller, which is a really terrific film. I'd like to see it again someday, now that I think about it. Also, Life is Beautiful, I believe, is a wonderful movie by Roberto Benigni. And that one actually is probably the film that Jerry Lewis wish he had made, I think. It finds the right balance, I believe, that picture. It's a lot better the second time you see it, I think. But the first time I saw it, I thought it was a good movie. And the other one is Europa Europa, which deals with a Jewish kid who is indoctrinated into the Nazi party in a weird way just to save his own skin. They don't know that he's Jewish. Um, and that film is full of irony. So those would be, but this one just, it sounds like, and when you watch the clips, the tone is way off. So I'll place a link if it's still available, I don't know, on YouTube for these scenes. Just check them out and see what you think. It's just not good. I mean, part of me is almost interested in seeing this a fully completed film about this, but it's unlikely that it will ever be completed by anybody. His films are, they run hot and cold for me. I've never been a huge fan of him, but I like him in his latter dramatic work, interestingly enough, more so than his comedies. But nonetheless, this film feels like it sounds like it would be schizophrenic, but when you watch it, it's completely listless, the scenes that were made available on YouTube. So I'll place a link. What do the rest of you think about this? Do you wish The Day the Clown Cried had been completed, or is it better to just see it as sort of a little anomaly in cinema history? I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's interesting they haven't even, with his latter pictures, some which don't sound that good anyway, have not really been restored, like Hardly Working or oh God, I know there's another one called Cracking Up. These were in the early '80s, and one that really looks awful is Slapstick of Another Kind. Those films, nobody seems to really feel any need to restore or do anything with them. But this is a picture that is so infamous that it has sparked a lot of interest, because it just is unlikely to really be seen in, fully ever. I mean, because it was just never completed. So that's the story. So what did the rest of you out there think? Is this something you wanted to see, or do you just think it's better to just keep it in a locked vault somewhere at the Library of Congress, and people can study it if they like, but, I don't know. So let me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Once again, thank you to some new subscribers out there. I'm glad that people are watching my channel. That's a good thing. And for the rest of you who are already subscribed, please hit the notification bell for future uploads. And that's all I got to say about The Day the Clown Cried. I got nothing more to say about this infamous, incomplete movie. So there you go. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.